Let me give you a little history before that era, before the Urban Renewal Project. In the Black Street, Trade Street area were predominantly African American businesses. And those businesses were torn down in the mid-60s through the early 70s. That area had been a very thriving African American business district that provided a service that many African Americans were not afforded because of integration. So it provided a service not only for the community, but it also provided a place for African Americans could thrive as entrepreneurs.
It's true that back in the early 1970s and the like, there were funds, federal funds that came into communities like ours under the Model Cities program. How do they rejuvenate, how they build up communities like ours, old textile towns.
It was a federally funded program across the country that could be used to basically clear out or demolish what was considered slum areas of the inner city. So that area was designated as one of those areas, so that was the rationale for the demolition of it.
And in doing so and bringing all those federal funds into communities like ours, decisions were made, and those decisions were made thinking about what was best for our future, but sometimes neglected to recognize the importance of what presently we had at the time. Decisions were made back then that have hampered parts of our community to engage in the marketplace, if you will.
Talent is given equally, but opportunity is not. And that really resonated with me as I am new to the community and I became to understand its history and work with Gladys on the African American Cultural Resources Committee and learned about urban renewal.
I think it was around 72 when the project was discontinued. Many of the businesses tried to move on and they scattered throughout the city, and most of them were not able to survive. There is only one business that once stood on Black Street that is still in operation, and that is the Robinson Funeral Home, which back in the day was known as People's Funeral Home.
The Black Economic Leadership League was formed when a group of African American business owners were approached to help the city as they were formulating the Knowledge Park plan, and they wanted to make sure that they were very inclusive and that they had African American owned businesses incorporated into Knowledge Park. So a group of us met to bring together some ideas about how that could happen, and we continued to meet, and we formally organized the Black Economic Leadership League to be a resource to the city as they continue to explore other diversity needs. So the B.E.L.L. XPrize became a discussion when Lee Gardner contacted me about what B.E.L.L. was doing and expressed interest in being a mentor.
When I first learned about B.E.L.L., I had an interest. I contacted Dawn, I contacted Gladys, and sort of reached out and said, I would like to be involved. I'd like to be a mentor for some of the entrepreneurs that are interested in starting businesses here in the Rock Hill area. My interest in the B.E.L.L. XPrize is actually an outgrowth of my 44-year career in banking and finance, where I came to realize that other people investing in me was the chief reason that I succeeded. And I adopted a value that if I invested in other people, that I would be successful. Their success would lead to my success, and that value is basically individual success will lead to universal success. If everybody's successful, everybody's successful.
So I shared some of the ideas that we had been discussing, and he was very interested, and it just so happened that he was having a lunch right after.
I happened to have lunch with Andrew Cope on the same day, and he had an interest in investing some money.
As a young person in this community, you know, a lot of the history of racial relations is hard for us to really grasp.
I simply connected the dots and asked him, was he familiar with B.E.L.L., and he took an immediate interest.
I think what's real important for me is that we take new ideas and try to solve problems that have plagued this community for a long time.
What came out of that was a discussion whereby we would do an invitation to some of the young African Americans in this community who had a business idea, that through that and they're attending boot camps and a series of workshops, that we would teach and train what we had learned through the years and how to run a successful business. Their attendance in those workshops would then lead to them making a presentation of their business idea. So they will eventually present to a panel of judges who will judge those based on their merits and what they have learned through the process of the boot camp and the workshops. And then we will select winners, and those winners of the XPrizes will receive an investment amount of money to begin their business, sort of a capital investment into their business. I would also emphasize this is not a gift. It's also not a loan. They don't have to pay it back. It is an investment in their success.
I'm Andrew Cope. I'm with J.M. Cope Construction Company, and our team at J.M. Cope is really excited to participate in the B.E.L.L. XPrize.
So to see us now recognize that we all have a shared past, we view it through different lenses. We see it in with different attitudes and different feelings. But what we do all have in common is the future. We don't know what it is. We don't know what the future brings to us, but if we work together, we can establish that it'll be fair to all. It'll create opportunities for all. And we can do those things if we are deliberate and intentional about who we bring to the table now and what we recognize as true, smart, common sense efforts to make wealth and prosperity for all of our people.
Today, as I look back on what happened during that era and what is going on in Rock Hill now, I think that there are, with the new Knowledge Park area, there are opportunities to somewhat, there be a healing, that there are opportunities that will be provided for young adults, or really anybody of any age, but to take on the challenge of starting a business and people being able to move back down into the downtown area. I think that Knowledge Park will provide those opportunities in various ways, and the type of business that will be made available just depend upon your level of creativity.